Welcome. Oh, there we go. Get rid of that. There we go. We are live. We are live. Welcome to the Winner's Circle. This is a night where we are going to talk to the three winners from the UK. Three guys making their debuts in OKTAGON 49 in the biggest event in German MMA history. And that's why we are calling this. We've got to do this, haven't we? That's what we're calling this. The Winner's Circle, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We are going to talk to all three Brits. Stop that. We're going to talk to all three Brits. We've got Corey Fry, we have got Matthew Bonner, and we have got Jake McHugh. And what an event it was. What a magical night it was for OKTAGON. Again, another night in history. Let's just take a look at some of this. Look at the arena. This is the before. That is the Lanxess Arena in Cologne. Unbelievable arena. Beautiful. That is the before. And that is the during. That is 19,000 people. And again, when you look at the record, you look at the record previously held by the UFC. 1 second, Corey Fry trying to figure out how to get in here. Yes, mate, click the link. There you go, brother. There you go. Held by the UFC. The previous record was 12,900. Some records are meant to be broken. I said it before, but this one was meant to be smashed. 19,000 people joined us in the Lanxess Arena for the most historic night in German MMA history. The atmosphere was unreal. Again, it's one of those things that when we're looking at new territories, this is what I'm excited about for the UK. We will fill these arenas. We will bring this energy, this atmosphere. We will give fighters walkouts like this. In the midst of all that, you can see Christian Ekelin, his arms raised aloft, and just an unbelievable night there. Wonderful, wonderful experience. And yeah, we went 3-0. The Brits went 3-0. So look, we are going to chat to three of the guys. The three. Corey Fry will be up first. Then we've got Matthew Bonner. And of course, we have got Jake McHugh. If you've got any questions for any of these guys about their debut, about experiencing OKTAGON for the very first time, stick them in the comments. I'll do my best to jump in and out and get your questions asked to these absolute legends. So speaking of legends, let's welcome the man himself, Mr. Corey Fry. Look at you, mate. Oh, you're better lit than me. You're bright red. What's going on, buddy? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, you?
I'm all right, mate. Well, listen, I'm all right. But seriously, at the weekend, I don't know if you pinch yourself, but you walked out into a crowd, a record-breaking crowd in Germany, and you didn't just walk out. You made a lot of people in Cologne cry with the performance of the night, Corey Fry. Just tell me, give me the feelings, give me your thoughts after a weekend like that.
Yeah, it still feels surreal. I was talking to Zach about it today, and it's just like it still doesn't feel like it's happened, to be honest. Everything went to, not everything went to plan. He hit me much harder than I thought he was going to hit me. He marked my face up quite bad. Well, not quite bad. I'm actually not too bad now. But,
still pretty, Fry. Still pretty, mate. Don't worry about that.
Still got the looks. But yeah, it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. That's why I kept saying in the lead up to it, this is going to be the best version of me. You know, I'm going to show a full MMA game, and that's why I said I'm a first generation MMA fighter. I could feel when I hit the ground with him that my experience on the ground was far higher than his and far more elite than his. And I think that's why it finished the way it did. But yeah, it felt unbelievable. I remember. Sorry.
I'm going to ask you a favor. Can you turn the light on in the car? I know you're driving, but it would be great to be able to see you properly. We got the little man in the back as well. Mini Fry. Oh no, I'm going to be Mini the most on. Hey, and the crew. Oh my goodness, you're all here. Look, the Fry family, and I mean, it was great because you had your brother then again, and your lady Ash. I've got one of these pictures. There's a great picture where there's your brother behind you walking out. That is epic. Those are memories for life, right?
Yeah, the thing is, Brian, as well, you've seen me and Zach, you know, as being young kids coming through, obviously, UKFC and stuff, and seeing us build up from such a young age. So I think, you know, to see us then in that massive arena with near enough 20,000 people, do you know what I mean? It's quite impressive where we've come from.
It's more than impressive, mate. But do me a favor. Don't tell them that I've seen you since kids, because you make me seem a lot older than I am, mate. All right? Come on, do me a favor. But you're quite right. And again, mate, looking at the performance, looking at the show you put on against the guy you put it on against, Dennis Ilbai, coming from Cologne, 19,000 fans behind him. And again, you talk about his striking. were you surprised at just how he was able to close the distance? I know he's a four-time boxing world champion, but MMA is different. The stance is different. The range, the weapons are different. Were you surprised that he was able to connect as many times as he did to start with?
No, I wasn't surprised. I thought, I knew that he had respectable hands, and I knew that he had power. I thought it was going to be a bit more like not disrespecting, but I thought it was going to be a bit more of a crisp boxer. So everything coming behind the jab and pacing himself. But I knew that it was going to come out wild because he said in the week that he wanted to finish me in the first round. So I knew it was going to come out wild, but I didn't know that wild. He threw everything more of a curved shot. There was nothing coming straight down the middle. It was coming quite kind of like over the right hand side of my glove, and then obviously over the left side as well. They were coming more curved on the shot, so they were kind of catching me on the blind side. But he did really well. Props to him. Like I said to you in the interview, not many people have hit me like that. Well, no one has really at a pro. No one's hit me at that level, and for props to him. That's what. But I said to my team, one thing I respect with him is he made me adapt. It wasn't like other fighters who shy away from the hands. I had to adapt because he brought it to me. So I had to adapt to the situation. Like I said, show my full MMA game. So respect to him for that.
Well, let's take a little look back at the action, mate. We'll get you to watch your handiwork again, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. But this,
left hand.
Oh, there we go. Let's get it in there now. There we go. Add to stage. Let's add it.
Oh, big shots, big shots. El Pistolero headhunting here. Corey Fry on the back foot.
Yeah, 1 minute. Try getting my jab going.
Yeah, talk us through it, mate. When you're here, like, how deep was that? Did you think you had it on that one?
Well, yeah, I could feel his arm popping in that first elbow, on that first armbar. Sorry, I could feel it popping in his elbow. So I was quite surprised that he carried on moving, but at this point I knew I could feel it all crunching in my groin against my cup. I knew it was on, but I thought it was a tough guy. I had him in 2 chokes, and I thought this is the kind of guy that's not going to tap out easy. And I knew that I was going to have to get something that was quite damaging on him. Chokes. A lot of time, a choke's more of a decision that you make to tap, where when your arm's going to snap, that's all your pain receptors going to your brain saying, we're on that flight mode. I have heard as well. I've heard somewhere that his elbow's broke as well, but I did feel a pop, and I felt it all crunching and stuff in my groin. So I knew it was a damaging armbar.
The great thing after the fight, and even before it, he spoke so respectfully about you before, but afterwards he got the crowd going for you. You had that moment where you talked with each other. He's one hell of a guy, right? And to see that, I mean, I know you've had the UKFC welcome when you walk into that cage, but he got 19,000 fans who waited a long time to see him walk out, and he got them cheering for you. That's a great sign of respect, right?
Oh, massively. I'll always respect him for that, and it was kind of nice being the enemy sometimes. Obviously, you get a bit comfortable on home soil sometimes, so it was nice being the enemy. But the German fans were brilliant. You can't blame them for cheering for the guy and booing the away guy. It's just how it works. But when I left the cage, everyone was brilliant. Like I said to Dennis as well, end of the day, we're both parents. We both got young children. The last thing both of us want is to go in, be coming out of there with losing brain cells, our faces smashed to bits. Do you know what I mean? At least the fight finished the way it did. Just this time it's been in my favour and not his, unfortunately. But that's what it is. Sometimes this game's bittersweet. I'm absolutely over the moon that I've won. I've made a good impression with OKTAGON. But the bad side of it is Dennis is a hell of a guy, and he's a really nice bloke. So sometimes you want him to be a bit of an arsehole, don't you? So you don't feel as bad, but he's not that guy, unfortunately.
He said such nice words about you. So did Pavel and Andre after the fight. And then in the press conference, you got some news. You got the performance of the night, mate. A little 5Gs on top of what was a great night already. Were you surprised you got that? And what was it nice? What was it like to get that kind of recognition as well?
Yeah, as soon as they give it me, to be honest, I honestly thought I wasn't going to get it. There was a couple of the German lads. Obviously, usually it goes to the home guys. Do you know what I mean? And especially, I think one of the German lads got a knockout as well. So I thought, that it's going to go to them. But for me, it was a bit of a blur. I got into my interview upstairs, and it was a bit of a blur for me. I couldn't really. I got hit that hard. I couldn't remember most of the fight. Do you know what I mean? But the lad I had the interview with and the OKTAGON member of staff, they said, "Oh my God, it was an unbelievable fight. Like, what a round!" And I was like, "What, really? Was it that good?" And he was like, "Yeah, it was unbelievable." So when they told me, I was over the moon. But yeah, it was those guys. But for me, it was more the fact that I knew then that I made a good impact with OKTAGON, and I knew that Andre and Pavel must have liked what they saw.
And you've been around big shows before. You've been to them. You've witnessed them. Where does this rank as far as your experience? Because this is what I am excited for the UK. Thinking about those arenas getting full and the atmosphere, the energy being more than a fight. The entertainment side as well.
Yeah.
You just describe it for us, and where it ranks as far as all-time highs for you.
Well, I've been to some of the biggest shows now that you can pretty much go to, and I've been as a fan and I've been there as a fighter, and it's unbelievable. Like I said on the interview with you after the fight, it's not just a show that's just built around good fights, because you do see other shows that they have fantastic fights. There's no doubt about it, but that's it. There's no atmosphere to it. There's no vibe to it. But with OKTAGON, you've got like the best guys fighting each other, so they make the best matchmaking. I like the fact that Pavel and Andre are on the front line as well. I think it's brilliant that they have so much input on the show. But it's like I said, it's an event. It's not just a fight night. It's a full event, and you really feel that walking in and walking out. There's just a serious vibe to it, and it's been unbelievable as a fan. Like when I went to watch AB's fight, as a fan and as a fighter, it's the perfect show, really.
And you talk about making an impact. You said before the fight, you've got a plan. Basically, you've got your fights lined up. Maybe not names, but you've got goals as far as rankings. Ilbai was number 14. I'm sure that's going to see you slip into that slot, if not higher, with a finish like that. What do you want next? I know you're looking at top 10, then maybe top 5. What's your views on, and have you even looked at the roster about who you might fancy next?
To be honest, I was a little bit tunnel visioned on Dennis Ilbai. I was really tunnel visioned on him. I didn't really look past him. I wanted to keep my eyes solely on him. I've not had a real look since, but I'm more the kind of guy that I'll take whoever they put on the plate. Do you know what I mean? As long as they're worth fighting, I don't want to take backward steps. Do you know what I mean? If I wanted to fight these 1-on-1 guys, 2-on-1, 3-on-1 guys, then I would have stayed on the local shows. I want to be fighting, people like Dennis who've got serious resumes about them and they've got rankings. Do you know what I mean? I want to rank guys. So anyone in that top 15 is fair game to me.
And what about timelines for coming back? Obviously, they've announced Newcastle end of January. We've got other shows leading up to the second show in the UK, which is April. What's it like, or does it depend on that lady behind you?
It's all about the boss. Obviously, I'll speak to my family. I'll speak to my team. We'll have a meeting this week and just see what our future plans are. I don't want to say anything and set it in stone and then have to go back on it. Do you know what I mean? I would rather sit down with my team, see what they think's a healthy time to get back into camp. Because one thing in that fight, I did take a lot more head damage than I usually would. So, I'd have to be clever about going back to training. So I'll just speak to my team and, like I said, speak to the boss and see what dates we can come up with.
Listen, because I saw you in the bar afterwards. She had a good night, mate. She had a very good. Did you enjoy yourself, Ash?
It was really good. One of the best shows I've ever been to.
The best
One
show.
of. Come on, Ash. Come on, get back.
She's a rookie at this game.
I went to the Manchester show and that was also really good.
Oh, God bless you. There you go. Listen, it was beautiful to have you out as well, Ash. And I've got to say as well, with your team, I've got to give so much credit to the work you put in with that ground game, because I know you are a deadly striker. You are so good on the feet, and I'm sure it's miserable having to do as much grappling as you've done up at the Northwest Fight Academy under Steve Nightingale with Aaron Abbey, Jordan Chester, the likes, your brother Zach Fry as well. What's that been like as far as camp is supposed to be hard, but it must be particularly hard when you're always put in the zone where people would class, that's the skill set you got to build on.
Yeah, that's the thing with Steve Nightingale and AB is they've always put me in an uncomfortable situation, and I feel like in previous camps I've always stuck to where I'm comfortable and just tried sparring as much as I can. And this camp I was saying, I need to spar, and they were saying to me, like, we don't need you sparring. Do you know what I mean? We've seen since being an amateur, you can strike. There's no doubt about it. You can put it all together. We need to put you in scenarios. Do you know what I mean? And make you as uncomfortable as we can, and make you bulletproof. And that's what I think they have done. They've made me bulletproof in every area. Obviously, even the shots that I absorbed off Dennis. You know what I mean? He's a 22-3 pro boxer, and he was throwing the kitchen sink at me. So yeah, I didn't manage to show my striking pedigree as much in that fight, but I showed that I adapted, and that I feel like that's come from just drilling scenarios and drilling grappling exchanges with Steve, all my team at Northwest Fight Academy. That's one thing that they've really knuckled down on, and I think that showed in my fight as well, that I could adapt to any scenario.
Do you know, I was so impressed because like you said, I've been lucky enough to sit cage side and watch you take these steps, the evolution, the highs and the lows that come with the sport. But what impressed me so much was your decision making in the grappling realms. You didn't get greedy with you went back to control the position before, rather than just trying to squeeze it out. And that, I think, is what led. And watching you tie the submissions together, that is what led to the performance of the night. Because for me, knowing you as well, I'm very proud of you, mate. I'm really proud of, your evolution. I'm proud of how you soaked that up. You suit that stadium. When you walked out, I always get worried when, I know fighters and they're walking into an octagon show, because a lot of people, they lose the fight before they get there because of the size of the gravitas of the event. You look like this is where you're meant to be, my man. This is, that feeling. Just describe walking out and what it was like, those emotions, what was going through your mind, your body, everything with it.
It was just like the amount of confidence I had going into the fight was, I've never had it as that big before. I've always had a little bit of self-doubt, just like any fighter does. But I said in the back room to my team, I said, this is the best version of me. I said, I'm enjoying it. I don't feel like, I had obviously the nerves, the fact that about to walk out in front of 20,000 people, but the amount of confidence I had in myself was ridiculous. So when I did start that walk, I felt the switch, and I just thought, I'm meant to be here. My team just kept telling me all the way through camp. My boxing coach, Matt Bolton, kept saying to me, this is where you deserve to be. It's the right time to make this step. You see people all the time, they jump on the big stage, and you can see as soon as the fight starts, they don't believe that they should be there. But I was saying to Ashley all week, and I was saying to my family all week, like, this is my time, and I can feel it. And I could feel it all week. I didn't have any sort of doubt. And when I walked in, I just thought, yeah, this is it now. I'm going to show all these people that I'm the real deal.
Mate, you did that, and you did it in spades. One final thing before I let you go. Aaron Abbey told me that you kept sizing him up because he was the same height as Dennis Ilbay for sparring. Is that true?
Yeah. I was in sparring, and I just go up to him, just like have a little look at him and think, yeah, he's not that big. And I just go, yeah, I'll get you for an MMA round, forgetting I've got about 15 kilo on him.
That's hilarious. That's wonderful. Listen, I love it, mate. Congratulations. I've got to do this for you as well. I got to say this, mate. Where is it? There we go.
Welcome to the winner's circle.
Yeah, welcome. What a debut. What a night. What a life, my friend. And Corey Fry, congratulations. Big love to you, your family. And we will see you again soon, mate. All right?
So much love, Bryan. Nice one, mate.
Take care, my brother. Take care. There we go. That is Corey Fry. What a night that was for him. What a night it was indeed for the Brits. 3-0. Let's not waste any time. Let's bring somebody else in. Let's welcome somebody else. Where to?
Welcome to
the winner's circle. Let's welcome Matt, the Beast Bonner. There we go, mate. Come on, give me some moves. What we got? There you go, sir. Oh, my goodness. Matt, the Beast Bonner. How are you, brother?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you?
Do you know what? I am so impressed with the performance you put on Saturday night. It was one hell of a debut. Pretty short notice for you to get ready for a big fight like that. Just give us your thoughts and emotions straight after the fight.
I was pleased. I think that the main emotion was relief, honestly. Like you've just mentioned then, Bryan, it was really short notice. I kind of know there's rumours going around that I might be fighting an octagon for about 3 weeks, but we already went through 2 opponents. Those fights didn't come off for whatever reason. And then it was only the Saturday morning before the Germany card where I found out it was going to be a kipper. And then before we know it, we were flying out on the Thursday.
mate. That is testament to that old phrase, right? Just stay ready, right? So that type of thing. And I know how hard you work, and I think, from seeing some of the rounds and the work and the bodies you got down at Next Gen, plus you got your brother and you've got your own gym, the Forge, as well. It's one hell of a life you've carved for yourself, mate. And I always credit you as one of the hardest workers, and the achievements you've gained is down to that. Where's that come from? Where's that ethic come from in you?
So it's a good question, to be fair. I'm unsure. I think I always say, my brother says this the same as well, that we were quite fortunate in a sense that when we first started Thai boxing and MMA and whatnot, it wasn't for money. There was no money in it. It was because we had a real deep love and passion for the sport. Now, obviously, there is money flying around. That's a bonus, but you've got to do this for the right reasons. You've got to do it because you fall in love with the sport. I still enjoy training. I still love to compete. Where I do think, unfortunately, these days there is, a few people who come into the sport to earn money and whatnot. And if you haven't got that passion, if you haven't got the love for the sport, it doesn't matter about the money. You're not going to make it, and that's it.
You've had some amazing highs in your career as well. I went back and I watched some of the fights. Your fights against Webb, Inman, Stanton, Matthias Frederick, all these major moments. But I saw on Saturday perhaps one of your toughest fights, right? You had to dig deep, and there was a moment in the fight, I think he caught you with a liver shot, a knee, and there was a huge grimace. And this is, again, where you see the beast, because when you talk to you, mate, you are so gently spoken. You're a family man. You're one of the most beautiful energies to be around. But I saw the beast come out. You got, most people crumble with that, and it kind of lit a fire under you. Just describe how hard the fight was. Were you surprised by it, and how bad was that knee to the liver?
The knee was bad. It was actually to the midsection. There's quite a story behind this. I normally finish sparring on the Tuesday, the week before the fight.
Okay.
But because I didn't know that this fight was going to be assigned, I ended up sparring on the Thursday, which is the second day of sparring in Next Gen. It was going to be, I did 3 rounds, and the last round was going to be the third round. And Paddy the Baddy Pimlet ends up saying, "Matt, I'll do the last round with yourself." I thought I was going to avoid this. And he ends up throwing like a belt in. It was he's in southpaw, and he threw a left backhand into a left body kick, so same side, and it's hit me across the belly and just dropped me to the floor. It was like a balloon deflating, which is about the first time in about 10 years that I've ever been dropped. Even from a body shot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for me, a kipper has kneed me in the same area, and there must be some kind of damage or bruise in there or whatnot, and it had the same effect. But yeah, it was I was in trouble. There was that kind of a 2-3 seconds where I thought, "Oh, I've lost it here now. I can't battle through this." But you find a way, and I was lucky enough to get away with it and carry on and have a really, really, really strong third round.
I want to talk to you about your opponent as well, because people look at his record 6-0 in MMA, but I think he's had nearly 60 fights in kickboxing, fights for glory, Muay Thai as well. And he was intense. So I'm just going to share this video and again, this comes down to your I love you, mate. I love you. Nothing phases you. You've seen a lot. And this is a kipper at the weigh-ins trying to smell your nose, mate. Let's have a look. What I love here, Matt, is you don't shift an inch, not phased, don't blink. And then just a little shake of the hand. Thanks, mate. Yeah, there we go. Off we go. He was intense, buddy. What just those moments, I mean, the stare downs, you never want to bring, you don't badmouth. It's not about trash talk. It's about the competition. What are those moments like? What was it like when he faces you? What goes through your mind?
I knew beforehand, off watching some of his fights and whatnot, that he was an intense guy. So I think I was prepared for that. It's quite funny because I thought leading into this fight, right, at least he's 6-0. He's younger than me. He's had this glory kickboxing. At least I'm the more experienced guy. And then I remember you mentioned at the weigh-in, and he's had over 60 kickboxing fights. I thought, oh Christ, I've not even got that on him anymore. So then we did the face-off, and like you said, he was almost giving me like a little Eskimo kiss as he was going back and forward with his head. But the funny thing is, like after the weigh-in, we went into the medical room and we just kind of sat next to each other, and we were almost like in dead quiet, no force, no fighting, just kind of politely sitting next to each other. And I thought, come on, you got to carry that energy through from the weigh-in if you're going to do stuff like that. But
That's
no,
funny.
you're not going to get any reaction off me. I think if he'd kind of touched his head against mine and then pushed, then I would have to have kind of shoved him away. But he never quite crossed that line where he was going to get like an aggressive response from me.
We talk about his background, and again, when I looked at his, credentials and his experience, especially in the striking realms, because everybody talked to me and they said, I hope Matthew is kind of, focused on his striking and stuff like that. He said it's going to be hard to get somebody to train with that's got that type of experience. And I was like, no, he's got a twin brother that is a two-time Muay Thai world champion who was supposed to be fighting for a belt in the WBC in Australia the same night, and we'll touch on that in a second. But that I felt that was a secret weapon that maybe he didn't appreciate, that he didn't understand that you had. Your brother Dan, your twin brother, is one of the best Thai boxers in the world. So did that come a lot into play? Do you feel like people underestimate your strike, and particularly your striking defense? It's very good, your movement to get out of trouble.
Yeah, my defense is very good, and I think people wrongly, in a sense, it's a compliment, I guess, but they'll say, God, Matt Bonner's really tough. He's a tough guy. And I kind of turn around a lot of the time and say, well, actually, I don't get hit that very often, so I don't even know if I'm that tough. I might have a chin made out of paper mache. I don't know.
You don't, mate. Really, I'm going to tell you now. You don't. You don't. All right.
I've never really can't remember anything that's really hit me that hard, because my head movement's quite good. I'm quite slick, defensively. But having Dan in camp and whatnot, that is, especially when Dan is training for the fight. Certainly this one that unfortunately didn't happen. He's a very, very intense character. He's the more intense of the two of us. And in sparring, it doesn't matter if he's sparring his twin brother. He's kicking me all over the gym, and he's trying to do damage. So you've got to switch on, and obviously that prepares you nicely when you're going against another intense, violent guy like a Kipper.
A Kipper as well with his striking, and even in his previous fights, there was a lot of finishes. So he's got a lot of quick finishes with, particularly his striking. He's got one submission on his record. But I was surprised that because you engaged the grappling, and in fact he cage control, and you turned it, you manhandled him to the other side, and I thought, oh, this is going to be the difference. But then he kind of brought the grappling. Were you surprised that he was doing that much, especially against you and especially against the cage? Trying to match you for the in the grappling realms.
I was surprised. I think I overestimated him to some degree, or maybe I underestimated myself. I remember Paul Rimmer arriving, who's my coach. For anyone who's watching, he's the main coach, and I was very much going into the fight with this grappling mentality. And he said, "Listen, Matt, you're a good striker. You've had a lot of TKOs in your record. You fought some really good kids. Don't go in there thinking you can't grapple." And then, like I said, it was almost like the grappler was trying to strike, and the strike was trying to grapple in the end. But I was surprised. I think he was quite tired. I think maybe me kind of being stoic and being well put together the weigh-in might have intimidated him in some respects as well, because maybe he's used to guys stepping back and being intimidated, and he wasn't going to intimidate me. I'm far too experienced for that. But yeah, I was surprised he wanted to engage in that grappling. I thought he was. He'd want to stand and bang for 3 rounds.
The performance was great. The atmosphere as well for your fight, it really caught fire, and it was 3 rounds of decision, but a back and forth battle between the two. The crowd really loved it, and I mean, really enjoyed the battle between the two. What was it like walking out into that crowd? What was it like, experiencing an Octagon show?
It was very interesting, because I was almost waiting for somebody before the fight to say, how do you think you're going to feel, walking out to 20,000 people? And I didn't really have an answer to that question, because I think you have to do it to kind of put yourself in that position, and then you'll know. But I remember standing just as I'm about to walk on, and I look out in the arena, and it's just, you look up and there's just so many levels going high to the roof. And I'm thinking, first was like, oh, that's ace. And then the second thing was, oh, I'm not bothered. I'm not. It's not intimidating me. I'm not. It's not scaring me because I just didn't know. I thought I'd be like, oh my god, there's so many people here. I can't. The pressure gets to me. But I was like, oh, it's not even phasing me. That's good. And then I was walking out, on the way to the cage. But yeah, like I say, I didn't know how I was going to answer that question if anybody asked me. But now I've been in that position. It's just another little confidence boost, something that I've done, something that I look back on in very fond memories, because there's not many people out there, certainly not from Warrington, who compete in front of 20,000 people. That's special. That's something I remember.
And the crowd gave you a great response as well. Like, as coming in as a foreign fighter, stepping on there, and he's from Albania, based in Germany. So but I thought it was equally as positive for you out there. And even again, this is what I like about this crowd. And Germany is kind of still a new market, only 16 months, and we've managed to break the record for the biggest attenders, the biggest German MMA event in history. But the fans are really knowledgeable. So like the turnarounds, the grappling, you can feel that they enjoy the whole fight. They're not just there for the slugfests.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Brian. I kind of made the joke that I was, a week ago I was in Warrington, and then a week later I'm getting booed by 20,000 Germans. But it wasn't the case, really. They were really quite polite, and they were quite warm when I was coming out and walking to the cage, and afterwards there was loads of guys in the crowd giving me fist bumps and whatnot. So yeah, I love competing there. Great venue for it as well. We're lucky enough to be kind of located over the other side of the street in the hotel, so it was super easy, production wise, to get there. And like you said, it was a good fight. We want finishes. I'm a big finisher, really. My finishing percentage is really quite high, but you're always looking for a finish. But I was quite pleased with, like you mentioned, Brian, it was a really, really exciting back and forth fight. The first one was very even. The second one was obviously a Kipper's. That's why he had his best round, and the third one was obviously mine. So it was an entertaining fight, and that's what the promoters want, and that's what the fans want as well.
I'll tell you what, if you want some extra entertainment, Matthew Bonnet, go back and watch the fight. And there's a bit where you're up against the cage in that third round. I've seen Paul Rimmer and love him, absolutely love him. I've seen him animated in various ways, but him standing on his feet, just telling you to punch the hell out of him, was one of my favorite moments of the tour, because he's like this. He's throwing his hands up. He's just calling you on. What's it like working with Rimmer and being at Next Gen now? Because again, You've been there about 4 years, and it has been a massive addition as far as your skill set, the people you train with. What's it like going on the road now and having this team behind you?
This is what I always wanted. This was the dream. This was, like I say, I'm just a working class fella from Warrington, and I'm not exceptional in any area. I'm not a massive athletic, talented guy. I'm just a hard worker, and I say that's what Next Gen have embellished, really. I went to Next Gen. I was actually looking at my topology record today, and if I'd started my career in Next Gen, I'd have 12 wins and 4 losses, not 15 and 9. So it's not. I try and say this on every podcast that I ever do. It's Next Gen have brought the best out of me. They took someone who was a 5 out of 10 and maybe an 8 out of 10, and I still feel like there's plenty more growth there. Feel quite lucky that I'm 33 on Boxing Day, but every single camp that I'm doing, I feel much better. Where I think there's a lot of guys my age who kind of just stop and don't really improve, and maybe don't want to improve and don't want to put that hard work in. Where I'm always looking to get better and maybe improve on some of the mistakes that I made last Saturday. But the coaches are great, the teammates are great, and I'm very lucky to be at Next Gen.
You're too humble, Matt. You are too humble, because I don't, again, and I love it because it's part of you. And again, when we speak to you, you're so down to earth. It's, you're just such a nice human, my friend. And then the beast does come out in the cage, but you are, I think you underestimate just how good you are. And I even think with the performance that Saturday, short notice, coming in, taking on that guy in, basically what was his backyard in Germany. Yeah. I think you've put a lot of middleweights on notice, and I don't know if you've had a chance to look up and down the middleweight rankings or even pick out some of the. And it's one of our biggest and most prolific divisions. You look at Vermola was the head of that for a long time. Now you got Kinsell versus Chepo at the end of the year. You got people like Mate Peñas, Oli Magna, some phenomenal middleweights in there that will definitely have you on the radar with the experience you've got, the accolades you've got. Have you done that? I don't know what you do as far as look at a promotion. Have you looked up and down? Is there any fights that you fancy or you would like to test yourself against? Any fighters?
Well, like I say, I got offered two guys before a kipper accepted the fight, and I have no idea why these two guys didn't accept the fight. One of them was Penaz, and another one was Hodjat, who's ranked fourth, I believe, or fifth
Oh
on the
wow, Hojat
rankings.
Hajiman, yes, and Mati
Yeah,
Peñas, yeah, wow.
exactly. Yeah, so I was offered them initially. I have no idea why they didn't take the fight. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say they were scared of Matt Bonner or anything like that. But I know Penas has come from an injury, come back from like an elbow injury. I think he might have dislocated his shoulder.
Dislocated his elbow at All Stars, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, elbow. Yeah, he actually got matched up today, I think, against number
Ollie
eight in the
Magna, yeah,
rankings.
he's up against
Yes.
Ollie Magna now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So I
for
don't know
that.
whether. Go on, Brian. Sorry, buddy.
No, I was just gonna say I think that is in. I think it's Austria. It's one of the next two cards. So yeah,
Yeah.
he is matched now. Yeah.
So I don't know why that fight didn't happen. I would, obviously Penaz is matched up now, but I would like the fight against Hodja. I think that would be a great fight. He's obviously that a wrestling background. I think that match actually works really well for myself, and I've got some good guys in that gen who can simulate him as well. So I'd love that.
Hodjat or Peñas again,
Yeah.
looking straight up there. And this is what you want, right? We're at the point where you want tests. And again, when I look back at your tapology and your credentials, it is one hell of a CV, mate.
Yeah.
Look,
there's a lot of good guys in there. Yeah, there's a lot of good guys in there. And my goal next year, the main goal is let's get in that rankings initially. Let's have that first fight, whether it's in Newcastle or wherever it was going to be. Let's get in the rankings. Let's get my name in those rankings. You're right what you said, Brian, in terms of how strong the middleweight division is in Octagon. It's generally a very, very hard division to fill. The previous promotion that I was in, had good guys, but there just wasn't the depth to the division. There was like maybe 3 or 4 good guys there, where you look at the rankings and they are very solid opponents. So yeah, I mean, if I was picking, I would say Hodjat, but let's see what comes back.
Beautiful, mate. I love it. And you gave me another little teaser then, because I was going to ask, what's the timeline? And you mentioned Newcastle, January 27th. Are you ready for a skinny Christmas, Matt Bonner?
Do you know what? I did the fighter thing where after the fight I was like, I'm all right just to leave fighting for a little bit now, and let's just enjoy Christmas, the first Christmas with my son and stuff like that. And then 2 days later, I'm like, right, let's fight as soon as possible. I'm already bored. I'm already fed up. So yeah, I would like to fight on Newcastle. I think that's something I've got to discuss with my manager and obviously Paul Room and whatnot, and make sure my intentions are known. But it's interesting. There was there's a foreign fella at the press conference after the fight, and I think he was mentioning a kipper about he normally fights at welterweight in Glory. I think he was maybe saying like maybe I was much bigger than a kipper or something like that. But before this fight, I was walking around at 88 kilo. I didn't barely do any kind of drop. I water loaded, did one little 20-minute bath without wrapping up, and I was 84.1 on the scale. So my weight is holding really nicely. And yeah, I'm pretty disciplined when it comes to food. I do love my food, but I'm quite happy to enjoy it to a certain extent and not get too fat over Christmas.
And let's give a shout out to your beautiful family, mate. Leslie Bonner, and of course your little baby boy Arthur. I've called a Leslie Bonner fight. That's right. That's very cool. I think, and it just came to me when I was calling yours. I've called what a beautiful family, and I think outside the cage is always so important. What sort of a motivation is it to have the son now in your arms, and also Leslie behind you?
I generally couldn't do any of it if it wasn't for Leslie holding down the fort. She's a full-time mum now, and she loves it. It's everything that she wanted it to be, I think. We had a little bit of she had a miscarriage initially, and then Arthur was the second one to come along, so that was kind of the dream country for both of us, really. But yeah, she loves it, but obviously it's extremely hard. She's breastfeeding, so she's up at all hours of the night and whatnot, and it's tough, but she does. She's the best mum. She is, honestly. She couldn't do any more for Arthur. I can just about hear him downstairs screaming. I'll stay up here a little bit longer, but no. But he's had a few little health problems, but he seems to be coming out on the other side of that as well. So very lucky, very fortunate. And it does give you that. I never really kind of understood it when fighters used to say, it's giving me a little bit more motivation and whatnot, having the kid and stuff. And but now I do. I understand it. You know, I don't. It's not that I'm worried about losing, but I don't want my son's going to watch these fights one day, and I don't want him looking at his dad and saying, "Joe, what my dad gave up then? He got kneed by a keeper and he went down, and he probably could have carried on, but he didn't." It's just gives you that extra little push forward to carry on scrapping and do your best.
Ah, beautiful, mate. He's got some good DNA, I'll tell you that. And speaking of good DNA, where is he? Oh no, that wrong one. Let's not put that one up. Then let's put this one up. Shamrock. What did Shem say? There we go. Everyone is scared of Matt Bonner. Shamrock BJJ. There you are, brother. There you go. Look, there's another one of your children, mate.
This is funny actually, because I remember my son he had to go. He just had his surgery, or no, it wasn't. It was before his surgery. Quite an important appointment at the doctors to work out what was going on. And Shamrock ended up messaging me the night of, and he said, "Listen, the OKTAGON guys are coming to the gym tomorrow. You might want to be there because they're looking at signing people." And so I had to sit down with Leslie and say, "Joe, what? I need to be at the gym tomorrow. The OKTAGON guys are going to be there." And it was, I don't know if that made a massive difference, but it was Shem who suggested that. And he didn't have to. It was him trying to do the best by me. And he's obviously opened up this pathway for everybody in next gen to jump on this OKTAGON wagon. And yeah, very, very, very much appreciative of what he's done for me there.
What a guy. But what a guy you are, Matt Bonner. What a guy you are. And yeah, that's right.
I am probably the most uncoolest person you've ever had on your show before, but
what's that?
I don't know. I'm probably the most uncoolest person you've ever had on your show before.
No, there's me on the show, mate. There's me on the show. There's me on the show. So I'm consistently the uncoolest person. But look, so proud of you. Congratulations again. I mean, enjoy the win. Keep us posted as well. Let us know if January does come around. And, mate, it was an honor to call your fight. I was so pleased I got to speak to you after it as well. So big love to you, your family, and I'll see you soon, my friend. Okay.
Cheers, Brian. Have a good Christmas, mate, and I'll see you at some point in the new year.
Matt Bonner, have a skinny Christmas. I'll see you in January. Take care.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you, mate.
Bye-bye. Bye. There we go. Matt Bonner. Oh, what a legend. What a guy. A phenomenal performance against Chiad Akippa there. Again, what a gritty thing. And we've got one left. The winner's circle is not complete, and it will not be complete until I add this guy. Wait 1 second. We have to bring him in with the correct way. Let's go. Come on then, mate. Yeah, Jake McHugh. Come on, mate. Yeah. Welcome to the winner's circle, Jake McHugh. My man, what a weekend.
What a weekend. Hello, Brian.
Hello, mate. And listen, don't get too excited. I want you to try and control it. All right. I want you to try and control this excitement. Just tell us. I mean, it was a crazy weekend. You did have some beautiful people around you for it, but just give us the emotions of the fight. And there was a lot of pressure you put kind of on yourself with this, but it must have felt really good to get that victory in that style.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been working pretty much non-stop for the past 6 months for that exact experience right there. I've done like three different training camps, 2 for other people. I've been training absolutely non-stop. I've had no breaks. My diet has been completely strict the entire time, and it was all for that one moment. So like, I may seem pretty not bothered by it, but I am on the inside. I'm going mental.
I got to speak to your lovely lady as well before, just as we're going over to the arena. And I think you've got a dry sense of humor. I got to spend quite a lot of time with you, nearly 4 weeks in Slovakia, having to put up with you cutting me down with mic drop clips consistently throughout. But I think your lady has got maybe a darker sense of humor than you. I was in the lift and I was trying to be nice. I was like, I hope you feel all right, and you're on your own, but all this. And she went, if he's brought me all the way over here to lose, then I might dump him, basically. So I was like, what a woman, Jake.
Yeah, she's worse than me. She's she's hilarious. She's where I get most of my jokes from.
Oh man, she's great, honestly. But let's talk about this fight, because in fact, let's not just talk about it, Jake. Let's look at this finish. Let's take a look at jiu-jitsu on show, Jake McHugh.
Look how tight that went.
This is tight.
Jake McHugh, he said, I want to show people the real me. This is him trying to claim this victory. He's got the angle. It's got to be a finish here. Look at
This
this.
is tight.
Oh my goodness, McHugh looking for his first professional victory here. He's got it. He's put him to sleep. Jake McHugh, what a...
Say again?
So did you see the relief on my face? I was like, I can't believe it.
Listen, we got people showing you love in the comments as well. What a sub, Jake. Congratulations. Wow. Listen, you did have me worried at one point, though. The point where he got the body lock right at the start and he slammed you into the mat. Was there a bit where you kind of went, whoa, this is on now?
Sort of. Like, I didn't expect him to. None of us expected him to come out and try and wrestle. We all thought he was going to try and like keep the distance and strike a little bit, but he came out to like wrestle hard. But you can see the difference in him trying to wrestle really hard, but then once it got to the mat, he didn't really like do much in the way of controlling me, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was sort of how the fight. That was sort of the storyline of the fight. Him trying to wrestle really hard, not being able to control me on the floor, and then because he was slamming me loads, he sort of gassed out a little bit. So, I mean, it did wake me up. Like my back was sore the day after. I had to get quite a bit of airtime.
But it was, it was a great fight because you had to come through that type of adversity. And you know, your jiu-jitsu is so good. I have watched you and I've been lucky enough to see you come up through the amateur ranks and now 1-0 as a professional, Jake McHugh, officially 1-0 as a professional. This love for jiu-jitsu and the way that you got that submission, that is going to put a lot of featherweights on notice, right? As far as that skill set, because he's tough. He's a combat sambo European champion, heavy pressures, extremely strong. But you found a way, even when you're on your feet on the cage and then on the mat, to work for the submission. It must have been a fight, even though it was hard. You kind of enjoyed testing your skills against, right?
Yeah, definitely. I had actually loads of fun in there. Even when he was picking me up and slamming me, it was still one of the best experiences of my life. Like a lot of people fight and don't actually like being in the cage, but like I actually really like being in there. It was loads of fun. It was good to have a good little scrap where I wasn't winning every single exchange. I was able to push myself and challenge myself in bad positions because I'm quite good at getting back to my feet, but I'd always wanted to properly test myself against someone who was trying to keep me on the floor. If that makes sense. So I was absolutely buzzing with how everything went. I made loads of little mistakes. I've watched the fight back like 5 different times and made notes and stuff. But there's loads of like little things that I did wrong. But overall, when I was looking at it, I took no damage. I got slammed a couple of times, but I got straight back to my feet. And he didn't really land any damaging shots. I was the one landing all the damaging shots. So I'm really happy with how it went, to be honest.
It was great. It was a stunning performance. And again, for people that are watching this and might not know about Klevets and his background, 101 amateur fights, 80-21 is his record, 80 wins, 21 losses. European Combat Sambo champion, Ukrainian Combat Sambo champion as well, which is, you know, you think about the grappling out there. So as far as an opponent, it is a legit, fantastic victory in front of a record-breaking crowd and event. What was it like being part of that? What were the nerves like? Did you get nerves? How did you manage the moment before you made the walk into the cage?
So initially, like I was actually very nervous about the concept of like fighting in front of all them people in such a big arena, especially where I haven't had much experience in doing that. But then on the walk out, like I didn't feel it at all. I was completely relaxed to the point where one of my cornermen, Ellis, was like, "Lad, you need to focus now. You need to start switching on. You're about to get in a fight." And I was just kind of like having a good time being in the moment. You know what I mean? So I thought the nerves were going to affect me a lot more than it did, but it didn't. I was completely relaxed in there, which is buzzing to find out that you perform completely relaxed, even in such a high pressure situation.
It was, and again, what a corner you got there. Ellis Hampton, Venture, Adam there as well, and Paul Rimmer. I saw their emotions when you got that victory, and I also saw they knew you had it. As soon as the triangles start getting set up and you've finally got the foot under the knee, they just kind of, it was a matter of time, really. What's it like having them in the corner? And I mentioned before Leah McCourt and Molly McCann. I know you've been out to America for Leah's fights, been a big part of her camps and some of her biggest victories. What did they say to you afterwards? What was your WhatsApp, your messages like when you got out of the cage and backstage?
I had so many messages of so many people. It was boss to see all the people that, like all your friends and all your training partners supporting you through the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. It was really, really nice. I FaceTime Molly as soon as I finished, and she was a grapple fest with all the lads, and all the lads were on the phone going, "Hey, well done" and stuff. And it was just boss. It was like to have such a amazing, not just like the connections I have with my training partners and like the fact that we're like the big next gen team, but like also it's like the level of them as well. Like you can be mates with all your training partners, but if they're shit training partners, then it's all pointless really. So it's just boss such a high. It's just boss to be part of such a high level gym where we're all so close and we're all just literally there to support each other. You know what I mean?
It's great. It's great. And I think as well, your journey over the last maybe 4 or 5 months since OKTAGON Challenge, losing that fight in the way you did, the heat that happened after it, that was obviously one of the lowest points for you as far as just this journey of martial arts. I was there straight after the fight and I could see how much it hurt you. And even made you question whether you were on this path, and it is a crazy path because we've had at the weekend, the highs are so high, but you've tasted the lows that are so low. What were those last, I suppose, few months like? What was that like? Trying to get yourself back into believing maybe in yourself and that this is for you.
It was just complete focus, to be honest. Like I said before, I haven't had a break. It's just been full on 100%. My diet's been perfect. My training schedule has been pretty much perfect. I've probably overtrained myself to the point of near exhaustion. Trying to get myself back in the mind frame of wanting to compete and like competing again and being able to be in the mindset to win. And it was really hard initially. I'm not gonna lie. The fight did break me a little bit. Just the way that everything happened and took place, and then I had to go back, and it was just very rough. But again, thanks to the gym I'm from, I was able to get my confidence back. I always get a lot of my confidence through my training partners. So like being able to maybe scramble really well with Paddy, or being able to sit in the pocket with Liam Gittins, and being able to I'm not going to go on and aim loads of people from the gym, but like doing all them things with such high level athletes sort of gives you the confidence to be able to get back in there and be like, you know what, I am actually really good at MMA, and I'm going to deep dive in and impose my game. If that makes sense.
You are really good at MMA, Jake. You really are. And this is something that I'm glad. And I spoke with Andre Novotny after the fight, and we talked. Obviously, there was lots of big moments in there, but he just went, Jake McHugh, wow, because we didn't see that in there. And again, that's such the shame of what happened in that fight. So quick in the house with OKTAGON Challenge. They didn't get to see what I'd seen, what I was talking about all that time, but they did on Saturday night, which was exciting. They also were very excited about this potential next fight, January 27th. You said Armand Herczeg, your opposite number in the Irish house. You said you've signed the contract. He hasn't. Is that the case? Have the contracts gone out? Is January 27th the aim?
I have no idea if he signed, but I have signed the contract for January 27th against Armand. So I didn't think he was going to sign the contract because he called me up and he said that he probably wasn't going to take the fight, which was half the reason why I called him out, because I was like, take the fight. You asked me for the rematch. You've got to take the fight now. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have, like, he asked me for the rematch back in just towards the end of the show. He was like, we can have a rematch if you want. And I was like, yes, down. And then he messaged me a couple of weeks later or whenever it was, being like, rematch then. And I was like, yeah, definitely. So if he hadn't have asked me for the rematch, I would have just gotten on with my life. I would have just had to move on and crack on and just see what was next. But he did ask me for the rematch. So we set it up. I signed the contract. And then he was like, oh, I might not sign it now. So now the whole thing's a bit weird, but I want the rematch. January 27th, I'm going to start training again on Monday. I'm going to have a skinny Christmas, like you just said with Bonner. And then and then I'm going to beat him. We're going to see what should have happened in the show.
And what would it mean to you to be able to, you know, go in there and again in the right weight class? Because the fights in the house were at 155 lightweight, 70.8 kilograms, but yours and Arman's weight class is featherweight, right? So what difference do you think that will make? And also, in fact, more importantly, what does this fight mean to you? What would it mean to be able to get in there and have the chance at that redemption?
So, so just before this fight, I said this fight is sort of redemption, and it was. Do you know what I mean? Coming off a loss, you definitely want to get back in the win column and get that redemption for that loss. But this would be complete redemption. This would be like that fight is sort of not that it didn't happen, but like I can show what I wanted to show in the TV show, where I will get full redemption and I will be able to like sort of put any questions people have at my skills or abilities to rest. All the doubters are going to get told or shown on January 27th when we see what should have happened on the show to Armin.
What about the stuff that's gone on online? Because I notice every chance he gets, he's posting something about, you know, the fight or you being his kid or his child. And that was the game in the series, England versus Ireland. The Irish were so brutal with the banter, but it's been consistent and it's, you know, a theme of his social media. Does any of it get to you? Is part of it making, because I know you're not that guy, but is part of it getting a chance to you know, shut him up, I suppose?
Maybe get a chance to. Well, it's not even get a chance to shut him up, but like when we fight and I win, he's going to look a bit silly for putting all this stuff online. But like, and I'm assuming he's just trying to build the fight or in his own weird way. But like some of the things that he's put online are just like they're just not on really. So like he was trying to friend over message and stuff, and he was messaging me and he said good luck for like the upcoming fight, but then he's putting pictures of like he's just saying utter madness on his Instagram. So I'm like, I don't like the I don't know. It's just a bit weird. There's building a fight and then there's going past the line, and I feel like he's gone past the line a little bit. So it doesn't affect me mentally in what I'm going to do to him in the cage. The plan always stays the same, and I will impose my will in there. I just I don't know. Just the whole thing's been a bit weird. It's not even like funny. It's just a bit like weird and awkward. So I'm like, I don't really know what to do. You know what I mean?
And when you say you'll impose your will, how would you, if your dream scenario for that fight playing out, how does it go?
Yeah, I'm probably going to TKO him in the second round. To be honest, like I'm not a slow starter, but like I like to sort of make them feel my pressure a little bit. Like in the Ivan fight, he came out very strong, and then he felt that I wasn't going away, and I imagine that probably added a little bit to him gassing out, and then I was able to do what I do in the second round once he was a little bit not broken, but his will was a little bit diminished. If that makes sense, and that's sort of what I do to people. So second round TKO is what I'm going for.
And last question, the most important question, Jake McHugh, potentially of your entire life. What flavor cheesecake did you go for? Have you done the tradition of eating an entire cheesecake to yourself? Has it happened yet?
Well, no, because Amsterdam don't really have any good cheesecakes. I'm not going to lie. So when I get home, I'm going to buy one. I haven't been able to do my usual ritual. Like I'd have just eat. Like I usually have a 12-inch pizza, a cheeseburger, a chicken kebab, and then a cheesecake as well. But
in one sitting?
Yeah, usually.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to put all that on the thing. I just put a cheesecake.
Well, listen, mate, I am really proud of you. I've got to do it one more time. Congratulations on the win, Jake McHugh. You are 1-0 as a pro. Come on, play.
What?
There we go.
Welcome to the winner's circle. We all winning here.
I'm a sad old man, Jake. Just give me my moment. All right. Listen, congratulations again, Jake. I cannot wait to see you. We'll keep everyone posted as to whether that fight January 27th come. But right now, don't even think about it. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the victory, and welcome to OKTAGON, Jake.
Thank you. Bye, Bryan.
All right. Take care, mate. Love you lots. Take care. Cheers. Bye. Jake McHugh. There we have it. The 3 winners from the winner's circle, Octagon 49. That was the biggest event in German MMA history. Corey Fry, a fantastic victory against Ilbai. Of course, Matthew Bonner against Akipa. And then Jake McHugh got that victory against Ivan Klevitz. We've talked a lot about January 27th. One fight that was announced for it is Magard versus Cartwright, this bantamweight bout that will see these 2 guys that train in the same city. They both train in Manchester. They both don't like each other. We got a little glimpse of exactly what they had to say to each other in Manchester. And that is the first fight announced for the January 27th card. What I can tell you is I've been let into a few secrets of a few of the other fights that are yet to come. And my goodness, Newcastle is going to be something spectacular to kick the card off, to kick the year off. So you can get your tickets. Go to ticketmaster.com and they will be available very shortly, the end of this week on Friday, I believe. So there we go. Cannot miss that one. You cannot miss that one. So from me to all you guys, thank you. And girls, ladies, gentlemen, children, dogs, cats, goldfish, thank you very much for joining us here. What is the winner's circle? See you next time.